What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hello. My name is Gay Keith and I'm sucking these So for those of you who already know me, you probably already know that all I'm good for here is sampling. So I figured why not just do a continuation on my series where I help you guys find samples. Kind of gave you guys the frame of mind of what you should be looking for and what you should be thinking when you're typing in trying to find samples, because a really important thing about finding samples is how to articulate what you're looking for. So you got to really critically think about the sounds that you're looking for and what the best way to get that out of the search engine. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that here, and I'm gonna also flip a sample as well. So yeah, if we get this video up to 700 likes, I'm gonna send a bunch of commenters my Space Cadet drum kit that is on treesoundrecords.com. That way you guys just have a whole bunch of sounds to cook up with. There's over 200 in the pack, so you guys will be able to use that for a while. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, please follow me on Instagram at @Cxdy. I post a lot of things where I'm giving away stuff all the time, so I'm always doing giveaways on there and always posting snippets of new stuff. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alrighty guys, let me cut to the chase, get into this video. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up a new tab here on YouTube. Dog, this song is so dope. This new ASAP song came out today, it's so fire. Oh, no, don't copyright. Alright, so if you guys don't already know, something like Vinyl Frontiers is one of those channels that just have so many samples, but we're gonna use their name for other things, because you type in Vinyl Frontier, it's automatically associated with samples and stuff like that. So a bunch of people make playlists and just call it Vinyl Frontier to get more traffic driven to them, but they're all pretty dope. I mean, right off rip, you got a whole bunch of videos here, Vinyl Frontier, the actual channels, a whole bunch of playlists here with 300, 476 videos, 300 videos, 1,500 videos, and they probably all got gems, like all of them. You probably just go down the list and start sampling anything from there. But one thing you are able to do that maybe might help you find those samples that are one thing you might be able to do that may be a little bit more beneficial and make your samples a little bit more unique, or at least so many less people are gonna find it. And you know, I'm giving you the sauce here, but what you could do is you can come over here into playlist and check out a lot of these channels playlists. And I mean, it's cut and dry for you here. So if you were looking for gospel loops, boom, you got gospel loops. You look for trap loops, there you go. You look for horror samples, blah blah blah. So let's just go into trap loops here. A lot of these videos are on private or they're on unlisted, and the only way you're able to view them is if you go to the playlist themselves. So you can't even type it into YouTube and find it. So one thing a lot of these guys do for whatever reason is they unlist these videos and put them in playlists. Maybe because they're worried about the video getting taken down or something like that, but whatever the reason is, you find a lot of gems in here. So let's go through and, I don't know, let's just start clicking on stuff. All these very easy to be very easily sampleable, able to be sampled. Let's click this. This looks like one of them old video game scroll stories where you click and it's like one of those games, those old ones where you just click and go along with the story. Okay.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Alrighty, right off rip, I already hear a bunch of things I could do with this sample. So I'm gonna go ahead and rip the MP3 and bring it over into FL and start chopping it, and I'm gonna show you that whole process as well. Alrighty, so I got the sample pulled up here. First things first, you're gonna wanna prep it. It starts with this arrow on, which means it follows as you're recording if you're zoomed in, and it kind of messes me up when I'm trying to find the chops. See, it follows like that, so I want that off. That way I have more control over everything that's going on. You wanna make sure you have loop points turned on so that it just loops and you can hear if the loop is on time. So again, when you come in here, make sure that you're right here on this center line here. That way there's no popping. You wanna do this for the start and the end. So count out in your head too. 1, 2, 3, Sounds like we got a good loop there, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring this in, send a playlist as an audio clip, and from here, I'll mess with the pitch. One way to know if your stuff is on time is to bring it onto the grid, snap it to 8 bars, come in here, see if it matches right with that center line, and it does just about perfectly, so you don't gotta worry. If you wanted to be super, you know, meticulous about it, or if you have OCD, you could come in here with the stretch on. The stretch is already on. Shift M if you want to turn it on, and drag it in a little bit until you see that that center line kind of is right on time there. See? That way when everything comes in, it's on time. It doesn't bother me too much if it's not, because it just gives its own like natural swing, and just gives it a little bit more of a bouncy vibe if you don't have it perfectly on time. But there's nothing wrong with it being perfectly on time, and there's nothing wrong with it being slightly off. Not too much, but just slightly is fine. One thing I think is really underrated that people don't do is set up sample drum loops. Now, I already have one, just from a general kit that me and Bass One have, a sample test drum loop. This way, I don't waste a lot of my time if I feel like I don't know if I think the sample could do something. This one I know it can, but I'm still gonna go ahead here and make a very basic drum loop. And what you should do, what I suggest everybody do, is save the drum loop and just have it ready to go whenever you have a sample and you kind of want to see if it has that vibe, that trap vibe, or whatever vibe you're going for. Have a very basic, you don't want too much going on. Don't even need to add the 808s. Find some simple clap, find a simple 2-step hi-hat pattern, and then a very simple kick pattern. So what I usually do from here, like if I was trying to make my own drum loop, just go in here, press that record button, Alt R. I don't know if this is a FL20 thing or not, but you could just record it with Edison if not, and I'll save this, and then anytime I want to check and see if a sample's kind of got a vibe, I'll just, you know, bring this in. It doesn't matter what the sample is. That way you just know if it has a potential for bounce or anything like that. So as far as this sample goes, I think we got a little bit lucky here, because you could just use this as is and don't gotta change it too much, because it's kind of got that video game sample. But we're gonna go ahead here anyway and see if we can add some effects or anything to give this a little bit different of a vibe. I'm gonna add a little bit of noise with RC20, a little bit of space, which is kind of like reverb, just makes it a little bit wider, and play with the cutoff here. This is kind of like an EQ. I just want to cut off a little bit of high, and I'm gonna leave the low end in actually, because I'll take that out manually with the other EQ and see how it sounds. This gives it a little bit more of an ambient, bigger sound, and something I know a lot of people use is Unstable as well. It's free, and what that does is it just makes it have a little bit more of a wobble in the melody. Another thing you could do is either grow speed or halftime. I'm sure you guys all know about that. Let's see. Go ahead here and open up a grow speed and see if I could find anything. Usually I like to use grow speed a lot for like a counter melody or something, and then I just turn it down a little bit. But if you want to use it for the main melody, play around with some presets, and then you could play with the mix knob. This way it shows how prominent it is in the mix, or if it kind of just blends in a little bit so you can hear. And don't be afraid to play with the presets too. You can play with everything. So that sounds dope, but I don't want it so strong, so you could turn down the mix. So it just kind of sits there in the back and just adds a little bit more spice to the melody. You could take it in and out, adds a little bit more variation, so nothing gets boring really on the ear throughout the progression of the track, because if you just had this the whole time, it might get a little bit boring. So I'm gonna go ahead and re-record this melody with the gross beat and just have that so that I have both the gross beat melody and then the melody with no gross beat on it. So another thing I did here is I re-recorded the melody with no effects on it, and that way I have more control when I go into slicer here, bring it into the slicer, have the chops ready, play with everything and see if I can get a different vibe with chopping it up on my own and playing with the pitch here. Just remember, if you do pitch it down 200 cents or semitones and you like it, come over to this one and then make sure you do that as well. Drop it down 200 semitones. So if you want to change up the sample even more, chop it up, you just don't feel comfortable using it kind of how it is, you can have a MIDI keyboard here. You don't need to, you can click it in, but I like playing around on my MIDI keyboard. So I might try and just see if I like the sample as it is, but I'm going to see just for the sake of the video if I can come up with another chop, maybe with the flute part that you can add in later on. So I'm going to go ahead and try and record that into Edison here and just quantize it afterwards. So as you can see, it's a little bit off, but you just go in here, I'll highlight everything here, come over here, make sure it's either on like something higher, not over here, because it'll do it based on that. As you can see, it will quantize everything based on what steps you're on. So when I press quantize, it didn't quantize it properly. Make sure you have the magnet on something like beat or bar, and then it all quantizes properly. And then come in here, hold shift and drag your velocity to wherever you want. And then I'll click something like Alt R and play with the panning. Just because of the mixer effects I know I'm about to do, it'll let everything bounce around a little bit and give it a little bit more atmosphere. Alrighty guys, I basically finished the beat. I just kept it really simple, didn't do too much with it. I just wanted to show you guys like something that you can do with the sample here and just what you can transform it into. Just kind of try and develop an ear. The more you practice it, the better you'll get at it. It's with anything in life really, 10,000 hour rule. The more you push yourself, the better you're gonna get at it. And like I said, that applies to anything. So if you want to get good at sampling, go ahead and just do it all the time. You'll figure it out how to articulate what you want to find and how to express that when searching for stuff. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Here's the beat. Yeah, if you guys like, please drop a like and subscribe, and let me know if you want what else do you want to see from me? Do you want to see more stuff like this? Do you like my other videos where I sample stuff and kind of just like do it and you guys can watch the process like I've been doing? Yeah, thank you guys. Let me know. Here's the beat.
Perfect.